While you guys are going, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Adam. I'm the COO of Giphy. And we bring you all the GIFs. Good morning. Maybe you guys are feeling a little under the weather, but we're in Amsterdam, so it's pretty awesome. And I just want to say thank you to Boris, to the Next Web staff, and everybody for putting the lights in the ceiling, for taking 8 days to build this, for giving me all the awesome drugs that are kicking in right now. It's going to be a little crazy. You guys are probably feeling a little tired, I'm guessing. I don't know. Maybe because you guys flew in. It's probably more like this. And maybe there's a little bit of this. It's kind of early in the morning. You haven't had coffee yet. Or maybe you're in Amsterdam, so you're like partying with a walrus, playing a saxophone. Or really, it was probably like this. Yeah, we know. It's okay. Everybody smokes a little bit of weed every now and again. So get yourself some really good coffee and wake up, hopefully. It'll be good. It's my favorite alarm clock, by the way. Buckle up, hold on to your butts, because we're going to talk about very serious things. We're going to talk about things like robots. And we're going to talk about space. That's not as funny. We're going to talk about VR. Right? This is like the future, right? This is crazy. We're going to talk about drones. Look at that. That thing is like thousands of dollars. NASA spent money on that thing. It's amazing. And it just does all this stuff. It flies around. But first, we have to talk about the most serious question ever. Are you ready? Cool. GIF or GIF? This is what we open with, right? We've got all this other stuff to do in the whole world. We've got like mind-bending problems in quantum mechanics, and I'm opening with this. This is cool. So in 1987, Steve Wilhite invented this format, and it's .gif. He called it the GIF. But he did it in 1987. This is what was going on in 1987. This is what exercise looked like. What the hell is that? This is 2016. 1987, this is a computer. You guys know what that is? That's crazy town. This is a computer except for the Windows Phone problem. That's a whole other thing. In 2016, this is what Windows looked like in 1987. This is the kind of UI we're looking at in 2016. Phones in 1987? Anyone got one of those? No? All right. This is what a phone is like in 2016. 1987, kind of funny. 1987, this is what The Simpsons look like. We had Spaceballs. We had Pizza the Hut. We had RoboCop, Mad Max, Alf. Actually, it was Max Headroom. Howard the Duck. Like, how is that a thing? He actually slept with a woman. So 1987 is the GIF, right? 2016 is the GIF. We said and did a lot of dumb things in 1987, and it's your choice. You can choose whatever you want, but just remember, 1987, 2016. Hard G's for hard G's. So get hard in 2016. All right, now that that's settled, GIF, 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 GIF. Pancakes, we are in Amsterdam. Giphy, we're from Giphy. So, are GIFs safe? Will they kill you? I hope not. No, Kylo Ren approves. But 1 second, there's more to go. First, let's talk about you guys a little bit. So, those guys are doing a whole lot of this, right? And I see someone over there. And then someone's on their phone. These two are on an iPad. That's pretty cool. And I'm up here just yelling at you like an idiot. And everyone kind of just feels like fed up a little bit because this is this weird format, and it's a hard question to figure out. Like, why is this so frustrating that we're doing this and all these kinds of things? And that's because we spent thousands and thousands of years, I won't even get through this whole animation, it's not fast enough, to put all of these crazy feelings and thoughts like this and this is a really good one, and this. You want to see that again? I could just let it go. And then sweet and nice things like love and passion, all that kind of stuff, into books. And it's mind-boggling, and it doesn't work, and there's a really easy reason why it doesn't work. It doesn't work because words weren't meant for computers. You know, if you invented computers now, we'd have a different input method. It wouldn't be like a QWERTY keyboard. It would probably be something different. It would probably be something without keys, because our phones don't even have keyboards anymore. Words were meant for pens and writing letters. But now all we have are these phones. And so why are we still doing this weird, outdated input method inside of our phones? Because it doesn't make sense. They can do so much more. This is what I feel like every morning when I write emails, by the way. It's wild. This is a good one. Wait for it. Yeah. But let's go a little deeper. Let's talk about Wittgenstein. So Wittgenstein is this philosopher. He's a really smart fella, and he blew up philosophy, and he had this whole theory of language. And what he said was that words are really, really clumsy because they're great at the literal, right? Cat, chair, car, tree, drugs. Yeah, you can know what those are because you've seen them before. You can reify them in your mind, and there's a pretty good shared degree of certainty of what those concepts are between all of us in this room. But they're really bad at things like the abstract. Love can be silly and funny and sarcastic and insidey and passionate and all these different things, but this is all we have to describe it. But it was all we all actually had to put our thoughts into books. And then something crazy happened. Social networks, oh shit. And everyone went nuts. And now everyone's on social networks. And now we all do this all day. I'm sure everybody's looking down anyways. And no one's got any time because you're scrambling around, doing all your stuff, looking at your tweets, looking at your Facebook posts and Snapchats and all this stuff. Mom, come text me, I don't know. And this is how we're living on our phones, and all these things are happening to us. And there's not enough time, especially no time to do this. When my mom sends me a text message, it's like a paragraph long, and she's like, hey, honey, how was your day? I made breakfast, and then I went out for lunch, and I saw my friends, blah, blah, blah. Signs it like a letter, love, Mom. I'm like, great. And then if you send me a video, you're just mean. I'm buffering, pre-roll, all this stuff. I don't have time for it. I got to get my coffee, got to get in the elevator, I got to look at that Snapchat that's really important. And so we invented these, right? We took shortcuts for everything. I mean, I should just sit behind the stage and click the button. So this became I love you, became I love you, became 143, became a caret and a 3, became a heart. And so we simplified everything. We winnowed everything down into this very simple way to talk because it was a lot faster to do. We didn't want to type so much. We had shit to do. We didn't want to read it all. It was too long. And we didn't have anything else we wanted to get done but, the coffee thing. But there's a huge problem with this. I don't know. I always find Mark Wahlberg funny. I'm always wondering if it's going to be hit or miss. It's a complete miss in this one. We traded accuracy, this is pretty incredible, for speed. Okay, so what the hell? Okay, we got it. Accuracy, speed, but I still send my heart emoji, so what's the big deal? Technology's the big deal. Wait, let's see if this works. Can I go back? Here, I heard somebody chuckle. David Hasselhoff. We're close enough to Germany, right? Germans love David Hasselhoff. So the printing press gave us this way to democratize storytelling. And books gave us this way to share our thoughts. So we could send them all around the world. We could put them on pages and we could send them around. And this is great because that's all we had at the time. It was the most efficient way to get all those big old feelings and these tiny words into these stories. But then photography gave us a shared visual language. And then photographs gave us a way to share those moments, right? We could start collecting all of them. You can start flipping through them. And that's when computers gave us the tools to create. And then the internet gave us a way to share it all. And what we were sharing this whole time are our ideas and emotions and thoughts and feelings and all sorts of great stuff. So now our thoughts travel around the world in tubes. And they travel all across the universe and all across the globe, and they travel at the speed of light, and they travel straight to our screens. It's no longer on pages anymore. And so it's all moving, it's all media. And we got tons and tons of bandwidth, which we didn't have before. This was not 1987, remember? And then processors got super, super fast, and we stuck them inside these tiny things called phones, and then we made sure everybody could get one. Oh, sorry, we gave them screens. I went ahead of myself. We took out the keyboards because they can't type, no one's got time, and then we made sure everybody had one. So what ended up happening was everybody's got access, instant access to media. A media object becomes a global phenomenon instantly. Star Wars comes out, it's around the world today. It doesn't take a month, doesn't take a week. So now we consume like this. Has that happened to anyone? Because it happens to me like every day. And we share like this, not like this. And so that means the words that we were using can start being replaced by the emotions that we're seeing and the things that travel around the world, all that content that we have access to. And so love becomes all of these different things again. It becomes varied, it becomes passionate, cute, it becomes something that Jay-Z and Beyonce share, or a Disney movie does, or the Minions do, or that passionate thing with Heath Ledger and everything like that. Content has become our culture. And what we're finding out is that culture is more effective than our words, because now we have all the technology and all the devices to share it instantly and turn it into tropes and thoughts and words and feelings. And so this is what's happening with the way that we communicate. First we talked, then we wrote, then we had the emoticons, and then we had emoji. But now that we can turn all of our media into thought, all of that culture into something we can communicate with, that's what we're going to use, because it's better than everything else, it's faster, and it's more effective. Yeah, but okay, great, GIFs. They're still just a fad, right? Yeah, I don't know. Cisco in the Thong Song, that's a fad. Trapper Keepers, fad. The keytar, definitely a fad. But your heartbeat, right, this rhythm that goes over and over and over, the sunrise and the sunset, something we experience every day and we program our whole lives against. It's not a coincidence that the seasons are ever changing and recycling, that fat bastard is in a vicious cycle, that history repeats itself, that fashion comes round and round every 20 years or so, right? It's a known cycle, you can just study it. That we keep rebooting Spider-Man, like what the fuck? That guy liked it. The loop is actually representative of life. It sounds silly, but it's true. There's something mesmerizing and hypnotic within it. It's the same reason Nietzsche was obsessed with the eternal recurrence. We continue to see ourselves in everything that recycles, and we're hypnotized, and we can't help ourselves. We have to look at it, because there's something primal in it. It's something that we experience every day. Yeah, it's a cute one. We can go even further back, though, to prove that it's not a fad. We've been communicating visually for over 30,000 years. It's what we know how to do. We were actually wired for it as humans, as animals. We had to perceive objects in the foreground and the background. We had to see predator and prey. We had to distinguish against multivariate things in our sight, whether it's trees and mountains and hills and birds and stuff we're going to kill. Like, this is stuff that we had to do as like wild animals. We've only been writing for 3,000 years. And that's not so good, because we actually see stuff and understand things visually well before we could ever talk about them. When you're a baby, you recognize the shape of your mom's face, you know her smile, you know your father, you know your relatives and things like that. You can't even say their names yet. You don't even know how to talk about what you want. You just cry when you poop, but you know who they are when you see them. When you think about stuff, you don't think about paragraphs in your head. Like, your vacation doesn't unwrap in your mind like this huge novel. You just remember the beach lapping on your feet, that beer you were sipping, that great dance you had, that good time, that boat ride, all that kind of stuff. What's more is that visual is actually stored in your long-term memory. So you're primed to remember the things you see way better than when you read it, or when you read it. So we're actually wired for visual. So not only is it something that's sort of primal in this loop and this recurrence that we know and we think about all the time and we live, we're actually meant to consume things visually. Okay, so what's the big deal? I know, just keep going. Kanye's pissed. If a picture's worth 1,000 words, a GIF is worth 100,000. And you can actually consume something visually 60,000 times faster than if you had to read it. The average length of a GIF is roughly 5 seconds. The average length of a movie scene is roughly 5 seconds. That means they're putting the maximum amount of production value into a 5-second scene. That is literally the most money you can pump into a scene. Pre-roll is also 5 seconds. Is any of this a coincidence? Not at all. It's because that's about as long as our attention span is these days. And so GIFs are getting the message across instantly where everything else fails. An image doesn't get enough across, a video is too long. But a GIF is the atomic unit of human expression, of emotion, information even. This is great, but it's going to take a long time. Yeah, all right, cool. And they're the perfect visual compression format. What does that mean? Which one of these do you understand faster? Who's happy and who's not? You can understand the GIF way faster than the paragraph. Which one of these is a Big Mac? A GIF gets everything distilled in seconds. And it's the new vocabulary that we're going to use to describe the human condition. All right, so we're just getting started. Is that cool? Yeah, that's great. What is Giphy in the first place? My mom doesn't know. She's still like, what the hell's the internet? And I'm like, oh, we do GIFs. She's like, I don't know what a GIF is. And I send her one. She's like, it's a funny video you gave me. Send me another. And then she's like, where's the sound? I'm like, there's no sound. It doesn't go well. And everyone thinks it's like one dude in a basement, but it's not. We're about 50 people. We're in New York and LA. And what our mission is to make everything move. And that means it's not just expression. There's other things. There's data. There's news. There's recipes, there's scores, there's stocks, there's weather. All this stuff can be turned into GIFs because there's visual information behind all of it that makes it instantly readable and understandable without translation anywhere you go. And so we're going to animate the world. I think this slide's going to happen twice. Oh, no. All right. Cool. We're GIFs, basically. And the point of what we're trying to do is we can turn all of this stuff, everything that Google does, every last link, every last piece of information, can actually turn into this. And we can turn all of the world into something that moves. And we can redefine search. So this is a side-by-side of the search for happy. It's a web search on Google, it's an image search on Google, and it's a Giphy search for happy. If you look at the happy search on Google, you're going to get all this old text link stuff. It's like Wikipedia entries and the definition of happy, and why am I not happy, and I need Zoloft and all this. No one wants to see that. No one's searching for it. When you look for an image search, it's just a bunch of yellow smiley faces because, you know, the web was built in the 80s and that's what everybody optimized for. And so the most common denominator of happy is this yellow smiley face. But when you look at Giphy, you get a real estimation of what happiness is and what it means in culture now. It's current, it's always changing, it's alive, it's moving, it's indicative of what people actually feel and think and see. And it's actually representative of the world. And so it's funny enough that people come to Giphy and search happy all day long. No one ever goes to Google and searches happy and shares the result. Same thing like hungry or sad or dancing or I don't know. And we're also redefining creation, right? We're making it dead simple to turn any piece of content, any fact you see, any moment you see into a GIF. As a result, we do about 150 million uniques a month now, which is kind of crazy because when we started with like 2 people, we did 0 uniques a month. And that was in about 3 years. So we're all like pretty happy about it. It's great. And we actually we've served over 500 billion GIFs in the last three years or so. So there's a lot of people that actually want to look at GIFs. And so now we've also opened a studio in LA, and now we're making all the GIFs. So essentially, every GIF you see on the internet is pretty much coming from Giphy. We're producing them with movie studios and TV networks and sports leagues and news companies and other places that are interesting and factual and data-driven. And we're bringing everybody in the world together to make GIFs. And we want everybody else's help too. You guys need to jump in. Hopefully you're sending GIFs around in text messages and emails and you're making your friends laugh and looking really, really cool. Because we just want to bring movement to the world. We just want everyone to dance like Drake. And we want everyone to talk in GIFs. And we want to make everything come to life. Because that's the way we experience it every day in the real world. Why can't it be that way everywhere else? Thanks.